Muy buena gente, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos? Aquí el Pon Show. Vamos a seguir esta serie con Vampyr, justo donde lo dejamos. Recordemos que nosotros somos Jonathan Reed, nos acabamos de convertir en vampiro. Y justo ahora acabamos de guardar, estábamos buscando respuestas con un tal William Bishop, el cual apareció muerto. Y básicamente es eso, hasta ahorita lo que sabemos. Tenemos que buscar aquí las pistas del asesino, porque recordemos que lo encontramos en su barco, todo muerto, ¿no? Entonces pues nuestra misión ahora era seguir los rastros de sangre. También recordemos que ya hay cazadores de vampiros. Entonces pues tenemos nosotros que
fresh blood. The whole building reeks of it. The scent is so strong it makes me dizzy.
I need a drink. I'm so thirsty. One wish to overcome this. We've done it before.
Nótese que están hablando
This
aquí.
place reeks of bloodshed.
Must have more. Oh dear God.
This creature is bedeviled. I must put it down.
Por lo que se ve, él es William Bishop y pues ya está transformado en vampiro. Entonces el que encontramos en el muelle era él. Okay. Qué desgraciado. Ok, ya lo matamos, básicamente. Eso estuvo relativamente sencillo, ¿no? Ahora está
William was an honorable man. I could have saved him.
Mr. Hampton, are you in there?
I knew him well, another lost soul, a kindred spirit.
Sir, listen to the sound of my voice. I'm a doctor. You're suffering from shock.
I must return to my flock. They'll stray without me.
Remember, certain skulls are every bit as resistant as we are.
Who are you? What do you mean by skull?
You truly are a newborn. I should have realized.
Wait. You are the woman from the bar. Are you like me? Can you help me?
I believe, sir, I already have.
By George and the Saints, you've solved the mystery of these terrible murders. Patience, good fellows, I've come to offer help. Just give me a moment to secure my boat. We can leave this awful place.
William was not the evil man they claimed. He was just taken by the thirst. He needed his drink.
This man requires medical attention. We'll see he gets to the nearest hospital.
No, please, I must tend to my fold. My flock needs me.
There, sir. Go with the good Dr. Swansea. He's resourceful, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you.
You'd best come as well. The sun is soon to rise, and you'll need a place to rest.
I just need a moment. If I can learn something about what has happened to William, I'll be a step closer to understanding what happened to me.
This poor creature can't be my maker. Could it be some subspecies of vampire?
Oh, ok, hay una subespecie de vampiro.
I must find a place to analyze the blood.
Oh Dios, Jonathan Reed. Si se ve ya bien muerto, no sé cómo es que los demás no ven, así que ya está.
Where are we headed?
We're on our way to the Pembroke Hospital. It's just across the canal. They'll have a bed for poor Mr. Hampton.
William was... What manner of creature was he?
Predator, prey, villain, and victim. Who can say? The important thing is that he's been stopped.
Duly noted. And the woman? What... Who is she?
What woman?
Oh, don't play me for a fool. You used me to locate that skull. You must know who she is.
And I thought you a gentleman. You shouldn't talk about a lady behind her back, but I will tell you she values her privacy. Were London as peaceful as she appears from the middle of the canal? If only that were the reality of the situation.
To be honest, I've always tried to avoid this part of town.
Pembroke Hospital is the last bastion between the rest of London and the epidemic. The flu has decimated the East End and the war still rages. Welcome to the front lines of a plague.
This is where you work, Dr. Swansea?
I am the administrator of Pembroke Hospital.
I thought you were here in service of your mysterious order, the Brotherhood of...
Of St. Paul's Stone, yes. But first and foremost, I'm a man of science. A physician, like yourself, Dr. Reed.
How do you know who I am?
No need for modesty. You are Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon of some caliber and renown, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it. I had my suspicions. But when you took the blood sample from the corpse of poor William, I was certain. Dr. Reed. Marvelous.
Have we met?
I attended 3 of your seminars before the war. I have the utmost admiration for your research. And what a turn of fate. England's most esteemed blood specialist returns to London a vampire.
That word, again. From a so-called man of science.
I understand. Traditionally, the role of science is to refute myth, but when myth walks among us, the Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study. There's so much for you to learn.
Of that, you are right.
Well, then let me be blunt. Join my staff at Pembroke Hospital. As a physician. I suspect you'll not find a better post of employment to contemplate your predicament.
This is sudden. I was returning home to see my sickly mother. But alas, that was before contracting this... affliction.
Dr. Reed, take a moment to consider. The post would be for the night shift, providing a good explanation for your absence during daylight hours. You'll be adequately reimbursed, and have a place to hide. I even had the forethought to bring some clean clothes. So, what do you say?
It seems I have little choice, but yours is a generous offer, so I thank you.
Brilliant! Oh, Jonathan, this is one for the book, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Dr. Swansea, thank goodness. I was beginning to be concerned.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh, Doctor, what a night. We lost 2 more patients. Nurse Scow said she couldn't take it anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, and Dorothy,
Yes, Doctor?
Dr. Reed here has just returned from the front. He served King and Country and will be joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed, Doctor.
Oh, yes.
Es experto en transfusión de sangre, un vampiro, ¿no?
Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea, immediately.
Welcome aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. Coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming.
Y pues bueno. Dice, has aceptado la ayuda del Dr. Swansea y trabajaré en el hospital de Pembroke. No tengo alternativa. El hombre que conoce mi enfermedad, en lo que me he convertido, un vampiro. No puedo creerlo. No sé nada sobre este centro médico oculto. Aquí todo el mundo me toma por lo que ya no soy. Jonathan E. Reed, el famoso cirujano. Debo mentirles a todos, a los pacientes, al personal. Este es mi nuevo hogar, donde me ocultaré de todos los de quienes están tras de mí. Donde me ocultaré de todos hasta llegar a comprender mejor qué sucede. Bueno. Pues parece que por aquí no puedo
I'm
pasar.
sorry, Jonathan. Mr. Hampton needs me right now.
Ok, sí.
Come on, you bastard. You can do better than that.
Todos están peleando ahí. Tengo de hecho una marca, pero no sé dónde está mi marca. No sé si la puse accidentalmente, parece que sí. No sé si la puedo borrar. Esta ya la borré.
It's my turn.
Oh, se lo está matando.
Each heart contains the essence of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard. I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse.
Lo mataré porque él mató a alguien.
Insult me again and I'll put an end to your misery right now.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
¿Dónde son las sombras aquí?
Didn't have the guts to fight me. Fuck you. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Y pues ya está bien muerto, ¿no?
To taste a life, to embrace its most intimate secrets. Such a burden, such a divine sin.
Pues nuestra primera víctima, bueno, más bien nuestra segunda después de nuestra hermana. Ya no están aquí los doctores, entonces ya podemos ir.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Ok, vamos a poner eso. ¿Cuál es la situación aquí?
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Caray, un enemigo invisible.
An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Caray. O sea, la situación está fuerte.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Ya tiene problemas con alguien.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippins. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Demonios. O sea, ese señor, por lo que se ve. Que no me sale ahorita. El Mr. Tip. Precisamente, Corcoran está agotado y se niega a parar de trabajar. Pues sí, es que con la situación de la epidemia, pues como...
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
O sea, no quiso hablar.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
Ok.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Entonces esta fue la primera enfermera que encontramos. Aquí hay algo. Rápido. Pues está mucho más de lo que se requiere.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and strangest night of my life.
You delivered poor Mr. Hampton from a terrible fate. The means to that end should be of little concern, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
Ok.
I would like to ask a few questions first.
¿Cómo está, señor
And
Hampton?
Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
Nótese que ella está como carnicero, ¿no?
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Acabo de conocerlo.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Ok, o sea, nadie quiere hablar ni decir nada.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Ok. Y pues ya no.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Creo que no nos va a decir más. Efectivamente, ya se fue. Aquí no hay cositas, parece que no, todos están bien muertos, al parecer. Ahí está el tipos, que es el men que nos dice que se echa de más sus horas.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippets, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
Las personas son más importantes.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Caray, cuénteme sobre el personal.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Personalidades positivas.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
¿Qué dice? Corocan ha convencido de que Gwyneth Barnagan está calificada como enfermera.
I'll go even further.
Y ella, según Tippets, Gwyneth está sobrecalificada para ser enfermera. O sea, ella debería de ser médico o algo así, pero es enfermera.
If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Sí, es lo que acaba de decir.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office down again.
Ok. Preguntas personales. Se requieren pistas. Entonces le vamos a decir que se ve exhausto.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Como Shakespeare. La enfermera Barnagan está preocupada, no tiene nada que mostrar, su actitud es irresponsable. La enfermera Barnagan está... Branagh está preocupada.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Caray, o sea, me equivoqué y le dije...
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Come on, don't be ridiculous, dear colleague.
No, nunca sabes. Bueno,
Goodbye, Dr. Tippets.
yo creo que ya la echamos a perder por ahí, diciéndole que nos dijo Barnagan. A ver si no nos va mal por eso. Ay, güey, porque le puse que me quería atacar. Están aquí adentro más gente. Él es el Tippets. Ajá, vamos a hablar con él. ¿Quién es?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Caray, mira. Muy directo.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
Caray. Pues sí, está canijo lo que pone.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
¿Cómo está la situación en Italia? Suena como si hubiera pasado momentos difíciles.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Caray. Sí, vamos a tener que ir a ver su cartera.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
Okay.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Caray, sí te digo que es muy directo. Subir en Londres, ya lo preguntamos, preguntas personales, necesitamos pistas, negocios.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
¿Le puedo vender yo? Parece que sí le puedo vender. Pero probablemente no le venda nada. Ok.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Wasted too much energy for so little result.
Ok, aquí. Evite el contagio. La falta de cuidado al salivar, estornudar y toser disemina la gripe. El contagio se produce por las gotas que se expulsan en la nariz y la garganta, no tos en público. No, pues sí. Ella se ve como algo mal, ¿no? Vamos a hablarle.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, Tonight, maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that?
Sí, ¿por qué?
And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Digo que es falso.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed. Blood is the only drug I need.
Sí, está loca. Pero vamos a preguntarle por qué cree que es un vampiro. O a lo mejor sí lo es, ¿no? No lo sé.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You
Thelma tiene el síndrome de Cotard y cree que es una
can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Entonces sí, ella tiene ese síndrome precisamente y no es un vampiro.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Caray. Igual y los que les están buscando son los de Penguin, ¿no?
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Caray. Pues sí,
I'll
verdaderamente
leave you,
cree que es un
Mistress of the
vampiro.
Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Oye, ¿quién es?
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Ah, caray, ¿por qué le puse adiós?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
Caray.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Claro, es que el problema es que todos están preocupados por esta epidemia.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Tienes razón. Me sorprendería con mi actitud. Te voy a decir que tienes razón.
You're right. When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
¿Qué nos dice? A ver, la reputación de Milton es mediocre entre sus colegas que sea.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Claro. Ese requiere pistas. Bueno.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Ahí hay desconocidos. Aquí hay doctores. Vamos a ver acá. ¿Quiénes hay? Este es Crane. ¿Quién es?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Claro.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Caray.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Pues sí, vamos a ver qué. Vamos a preguntar. Siguen pistas y aquí ya preguntamos todo.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
¿Qué le habrá pasado?
Reads me like a book.
Ah, aquí hay una carta. Despierta al Pembroke. Lamento no haberles escrito antes, pero me duele muchísimo escribir estas simples palabras sobre papel manchado de sangre. No se preocupen. Papá saldrá del hospital tan pronto como los doctores le curen el brazo. Mientras tanto, si necesitan algo, vayan a ver al señor Chadwick en la obra de construcción y díganle que son los hijos de Harley Fiddick. ¿Se acuerdan? De Robert Chadwick, el grandote con bigote que me ayudó a reparar las puertas en la casa de primavera pasada. Vayan a verlo y pídanle que algo de dinero. No se negará a darles una pequeña ayuda. Lamento no poder trabajar por ahora, pero nos las arreglaremos apenas pueda salir. No se preocupen, todo estará bien cuando el brazo de papá vuelva a estar fuerte. Apenas los médicos curen mi brazo. Chale que sabe. Ya tengo una pista. Harvey no podrá alimentar a su familia mientras su brazo siga herido. Vamos a preguntar.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Ouch. No, pues sí que
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Aquí hay médicos.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Porque le dijo charlatán y así, Cholo se emocionó.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Claro.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Bueno, y no aprueba los métodos médicos modernos. Sí, es eso que esté experimentando con la gente. Sobre todo en estos momentos, supongo que no le interesa.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
He salvado muchas vidas.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Y pues ya, es todo lo que puedo decir, parece. Okay.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to gaining people's trust with your impressive skills. Well, it will not be the case with me.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
still more coming.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Oh, ya nos está barbereando, eso no me gusta tanto porque probablemente quiere hacer algo, un experimento quizá, y va a decir que nosotros también lo hicimos.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
Ven.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Los experimentos de estos dos con transfusiones de sangre aún no tuvieron éxito. Sí, te dije que este güey iba a querer hacer experimentos y nos iba a comparar con esto.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Me complacerá. Los halagos son inútiles, las investigaciones son agotadoras.
I'll give you some advice, but understand that nothing beats practical experience, which can be exhausting and solitary work.
Of course, sir. And don't worry, I will never allow myself to be a burden, neither to you nor this hospital.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
¿Necesitará mi ayuda?
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Se nos dio otra misión secundaria. Y ahora sí, la versión de Ackroyd por los métodos modernos. El otro, este de aquí, se opone a lo que él quiere hacer. Y vamos a hablar de él al lado de él, no importa.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Sí, entonces sí está algo celoso él de mí. Bueno, de Jonathan Reed.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Por su propia negligencia. Harley se culpa por su...
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings, with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Eso tiene resto. Y parece que ya no podemos hacer nada más. Si le preguntamos todo.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Aquí quién está.
Oh, sweet girl. I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Ella también ya nos conoce.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Okay.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Interesante.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some
Beatriz cuestiona la eficiencia del hospital de Pem.
The staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Pippa Hawkins guarda camas a pacientes que puedan pasar. ¿Te cobró?
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Interesante. ¿Hay algo más que decir? No, ya no.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Vamos a hablar con el Mortimer, que probablemente sea.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here, then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Ok, tiene fatiga. Subida en notas.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Claro.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Okay, no quiere hablar porque está todo lastimado.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Entonces yo creo que ahorita le vamos a tener que hacer algo para la fatiga, decía, ¿no? A ver otra vez.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Para la fatiga.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Parece que su hijo está bien. No tengo nada que agarrar aquí.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book. Never could keep anything from her.
Vamos a ir, yo creo que a nuestro cuarto. Vamos a buscar qué hay. En el segundo piso al fondo. Oh, tengo una sierra. ¡Ja! Vamos a sacar todo lo que se pueda aquí. Historia. Ahí. Nos dice que hay una historia aquí. ¿Dónde se ve eso? Este es el único enfermo que tiene fatiga. Pero hay una historia, digo más bien, ajá, sí, vimos una nota. Paciente Thomas Elwood, hombre, 28 años, Dr. Tippett, estado convaleciente, fecha 16 de septiembre, falta de alta, determinar. Fecha de notas de la cara del paciente fue gravemente quemada, desfigurada por una bomba de guerra e incluso con los sedentes más potentes afirma que padece dolor en forma de irregular, causa de heridas, como si las llamas siguieran ardiendo bajo mi piel. Los exámenes del tejido cicatrizado no muestran signos de inflamación, infección o hinchazón. Las cicatrices están limpias. Puede ser el caso de un daño nervioso persistente. El paciente no deja de quejarse por su desfiguración. Puede ser un caso de culpa de sobreviviente. El dolor fantasma que se manifiesta como castigo por no morir junto con sus camaradas. Thomas Elwood. Ok, al rato vamos a buscar a ese Thomas Elwood. Vamos a regresar vamos a ir a lo que vendría siendo nuestro... Aquí dice Dr. Reed.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
Al menos me gusta uno. Artículo sobre los econs. Dice, es una oportunidad poco común, casi un privilegio acercarse a un vampiro para observar sus aspectos físicos y psicológicos más intrigantes con ojo científico y racional. Estas son algunas de las capacidades más fascinantes que personalmente he observado durante los últimos 10 años al entrevistar a algunos vampiros o econ, como prefieren llamarse. Necesidad sobrenatural, un vampiro puede actuar o moverse como un mortal en todas sus acciones, pero el ojo conocedor detectará que pocos que poseen sentidos más agudos y pueden reaccionar mucho más rápido que cualquier mortal. En pocas ocasiones, alarma, sorpresa, necesidad de huir. He visto un vampiro moverse con tanta rapidez que parecía como si estuviera desvaneciendo para aparecer en otro lado. El ojo humano no puede seguir sus movimientos cuando actúan con tanta rapidez, pero no se trata de un caso de teletransportación o desmaterialización, es simplemente velocidad sobrenatural. Para mí es un atributo similar al de los fenilos que les permite correr, esquivar o saltar a más distancia y con mayor rapidez que nosotros. También advertí que esa velocidad parece agotarlos y también ellos tienen limitaciones físicas. mesmerismo. Una de las capacidades más potentes que puede desplegar un vampiro es la de obligar a un mortal a que lo obedezca. Denominó a esto mesmerismo, pero no tiene nada que ver con la capacidad mortal de alterar el estado mental de una persona. Un vampiro puede torcer al mortal a voluntad e incluso puede crear la mente. El vampiro puede que entreviste. Incluso me dijo que cuando más intenta resistirse a una persona, más permanente es el daño, como si el vampiro pudiera literalmente fracturar la psiquis de su víctima. El vampiro que me explicó que llevaba tiempo dominar esta capacidad y el resultado podía variar simplemente de un sujeto a otro, implantar un recuerdo falso, borrar otro doloroso. Las posibilidades son infinitas y aterradoras. Y la capacidad de detectar sangre, yo creo que esa no la voy a leer porque pues todos ya la vimos, que es cuando precisamente vemos pues cómo está la onda, ¿no? Hay una plantita que necesita agua. Yo creo que primero vamos a guardar. Vamos a ver qué subimos. Sé que esta es de 2000, entonces la mordida, ¿cuánto es? Entonces vamos a subirle la mordida. Vamos a subirle lo de sangre. Ok. Capacidad de sangre. Y no hay algo aquí que dice vida, cuerpo. Ajá, Y yo creo que con eso ya está bien. Aquí había un salto y ese no lo vi. 500. Bueno, así creo que va a ser el siguiente. Y de las defensivas, ¿cuánto cuestan? 600. Creo que es hasta después. Pero ya tenemos 150 de daño, gran sed y capacidad de sangre aumentadas. Vamos a confirmar. Y pues bueno, yo creo que aquí es donde lo vamos a dejar. Y la siguiente parte de la historia. Aquí ya salió que este fue el que matamos. Play Clocks. Y pues bueno, vamos a dejarlo aquí. Y hasta el próximo capítulo.